Hello everyone, I am Sahana Prasad from Department of Commerce, Gopalswamy PU College, Mysore. Welcome to Business Studies class. In today's session, let's start with chapter 4, that is planning. So what is planning? You would have definitely heard this term planning. Planning is the first function in the process of management to be performed by the managers. Planning is deciding in advance, that is how to do and what to do. Planning is an intellectual process or intellectual activity which require a manager to think, to imagine and judge. So basically planning is a process of creativity and innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is nothing but new ideas or method. Planning seeks to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go. And planning is a continuous and never-ending function which is performed at all levels of management. As you know, there are 3 levels of management: top level, middle level and lower level. So planning is performed at all levels of management. And planning is concerned with determination of objectives and formulating strategies, policies, procedures, rules and programs in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. So planning is basically deciding in advance the future course of action. So now let us see what are the features of planning. First feature is it focuses on achieving objectives. See, planning starts with the determination of objective. What is an objective? Objective is the goal or the end result which an organization would like to reach. See, planning, we cannot think of planning in the absence of objective. Objectives of the organization is very much important. So after setting up of this objectives, then planning is done, and how planning is done, like what way the plan should be done, the methods, the steps, the procedure, and all these are done on the basis of the objectives. See, planning has no meaning unless it contributes to the objectives of the organization. So planning basically focuses on achieving objectives. Second one is planning is the primary function of management. Primary function of management. What is primary function? Primary function means here planning is the first function to be performed by every manager. No other function can be executed without performing planning function, because objectives are set up in planning and all the other functions are depending on the objectives of the organization. See, for example, in staffing, what we do, we recruit the number of employees, and again how many number of employees and what type of employees are required, again it depends on the objectives of the organization. So basically planning is the primary function of management, that is the first function to be performed in the process of management. Third one is planning is pervasive. What is pervasive? Pervasive means something that is present everywhere. See, planning is present at all levels of management and it is performed by all managers. See, as you know, there are 3 levels of management: top level management, middle level management and lower level management. So planning is done by the top level management for the entire organization. And in middle level management, departmental planning is done. There are various of departments like human resource department, finance department, production department, marketing department, like that. Departmental activities are planned under middle level management, and in low level management day-to-day activities are planned. So like this, planning is present everywhere. It is pervasive. Next, planning is continuous. See, plans are prepared for a specific time, that is maybe for a month or a quarter or a year. So planning is continuous and it is a never ending function, because see, the environment keeps on changing, and according to that, even sometimes plan must also be changed according to the conditions. See, for example, let us assume that plan is made during boom period. What is boom period? Boom period is when there is a significant growth in sales, or when there is a higher profit. And let us assume that whatever plans they have made during boom period, and they are executing during depression period. What is depression period? When there is a slowdown in economic activity. Whatever plans we have made in boom period, we cannot execute in depression period. Now again we have to change the plan which suits for depression period. So planning is done continuously, and it should be made by the managers according to the conditions. So they have to change the conditions, or they change the plan according to time. So like this, planning is continuous. They cannot stick to one plan. Next is futuristic. See, what is futuristic? Planning always means looking ahead, looking forward. So planning is done never for the past. See, what basically manager do? They make some assumptions and predictions based on the past experience of a manager. See, for example, sales forecasting is the basis on which a business plans the annual plan for production and sales. So what is sales forecasting? Is estimating future sales. So that is the basis on which annual plan for production and sales is done. So here manager, he assumes and he predicts the future. So planning is always futuristic. Next is, it involves decision making. What is decision making? When you decide, when you have a choice, when you have various alternatives, when you have so many alternatives are available, you choose the best among them. So planning involves a choice from among various alternatives. But if you have only one alternative or one choice, then there is no need of planning. So planning involves decision making. And the last one is mental exercise. See, as I already told you, planning is an intellectual activity. So it is intellectual activity of thinking rather than doing. So planning requires logical and systematical thinking rather than guesswork. So it makes the manager to think, to imagine, to judge. He has to think creatively, innovatively. So basically it is a mental exercise for the managers. So planning is a mental exercise. So these are the important features of planning. So now let us see what are the importance of planning. Planning is the primary function and it is very much important in the organization. So let us see what are the importance of planning. First one, planning provides direction. See, planning states how a work is to be done. See, it ensures that the objectives or the goals are clearly stated to the employees. See, employees are the people who work for the organization. So, they are the people who involve in doing tasks or activities. So, in order to achieve the goals or objectives, the goals or the task, it should be clearly stated to the employees, and so that they can easily achieve the goals. And suppose let us assume that there is no planning, then employees would be working in different directions and organization would not achieve its objectives. So planning provides direction. Next one, it reduces the risk of uncertainty. See, future itself is uncertain. We don't know. Anything may happen. So a business has to work in an environment which is uncertain. So planning helps the organization in assessing the future. So the organization has to work in an environment which is uncertain. See here what happens. See, changes and uncertainties, that cannot be eliminated, but it can be anticipated and remedial actions can be developed. So planning reduces the risk of uncertainty. Next one is reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. See, planning serves as a basis of coordinating various activities, and it's the effort of individuals and different departments. See, planning basically it helps in avoiding confusions and misunderstanding. Here what is overlapping? Overlapping means when there is a repetition of tasks. So if planning is done properly, then there is no overlapping of activities, then there will not be any repetition of activities and most of the activities will not go waste. So planning, it reduces the overlapping and wasteful activities. Now let us see the fourth importance, that is planning promotes innovative ideas. As I already told you, what is innovation? Innovation is new idea or method. It makes the managers to think, to imagine, to judge. He has to think out of the box. He has to think creatively and innovatively. So it encourages the managers for innovative and creating thinking in shaping the new course of action. So planning promotes innovative ideas. Next is planning facilitates decision making. So what is decision making? Decision making is when you have choice, when you have alternatives. So when you have 2 to 3 alternatives, you decide the best course of action after evaluating each one of the alternative. So planning basically it facilitates decision making. Next is planning establishes standards for controlling. See, planning facilitates control. You know what is a control? Planning is the first function, controlling is the last function. See, in controlling, here we can check to see whether whatever tasks or activities are being done, to see whether everything is taking according to plan. Here actual performance is compared with the standard performance. Suppose if there is any deviation, immediate measure will be taken. So controlling means to plan, to check, to see whether everything is taking place according to plan. So basically planning is a prerequisite for controlling function. So here these are the 5 to 6 importance of planning. Planning provides direction, it reduces the risk of uncertainty, it reduces overlapping and wasteful activities, promotes innovative ideas, facilitates decision making and establishes standards for controlling. So these are the 6 importance of planning. Thank you.